Okay.
What course, is she working now?
Yeah.
I better keep quiet. That's what I was thinking about you.
Okay. Mr. Hadjis, maybe we can begin with yourself telling me a little bit about your background. For example, the place and nationality of your parents and the size of your family, and when you decided to emigrate to Canada.
Well, I come from a village from northern part of Greece,
Mm-hmm.
in the province of Macedonia.
Mm-hmm.
And my family was well-to-do. We were 40 to 45 people living under one house.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And I was just happily enough to be sent out to get my education, which I went to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I finished my public school. From then on, I went to town of Tsutili. I went first year gymnasium, college.
Mm-hmm.
And then from then on, I went for 5 years in this American Farm School, or Thessalonica Agricultural and Industrial Institute for 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
which I graduated. I received my diploma. And in June, the 30th or 28th or 30th of June,
Mm-hmm.
so in October the 4th, in September, my dad asked me, how would you like to go to Canada? I said, sure. I always said, no, never say no to my father.
Mm-hmm.
But then I look in my books, my thing, and I can't find Canada. Well, I find there's 2 lines of Canada. And I said, yes. I said, sure, I'll go.
Mm-hmm.
And I landed in Canada on October the 4th at Port of Halifax. And then
What year was this?
in 1930,
1930.
Yeah.
And how old were you then?
20 years.
You were 20 years old. And how many brothers and sisters did you say you had in your family?
I have 1 brother and 4 sisters.
1 brother and 4 sisters.
Yeah.
Were you the first to emigrate to Canada?
First from my
family?
own town, or from my own, from my own town, see, from my family too.
You were telling me earlier about an agent who helped you get
Yes,
papers to emigrate.
my father happened to know this agent. He was, incidentally, my father was the mayor of the city. He was running around from different big cities and for other problems for the village, for problems. He made this agent. He says, your son will have a good chances to get over there with his English knowledge, he says, and he says, all right, arrange it for him to, which I left to continue as my education. I had right.
Could you tell me a little bit about the route that you took to come to Canada? You were saying that you went up through Yugoslavia?
Yeah, I got the train from Thessalonica, and then I had to go in Yugoslavia through the first town in Yugoslavia was Gebili. And there was in intervals of 10 minutes. It was a neutral country, neutral.
Border?
Yeah, zone, yeah, neutral zone. See, that's where the Greek police exchanges with the Yugoslavian police. Another way, the Yugoslavia police takes over, the Yig police retires. Well, up till then, the Greek police would give the train to the Yugoslavian authorities, and they'll take on. See.
And you went through Yugoslavia? And
I went through Yugoslavia, through Paris, and then from Paris I went to Liverpool. From Liverpool I went to Halifax. From Halifax on to Toronto. I take another train. I went to Hamilton, and then I find out 2 days later that I have a relationship, an auntie here, and the auntie did know me, but I didn't know her.
Oh, I see.
And that's how come they happen to be in the restaurant business with their daughter and.
And where were they, in Hamilton? Your
No,
aunt?
they were in Burlington.
In Burlington.
Yeah.
So you moved to Burlington?
Well, I just stayed there for 2 days in Hamilton. And these people where I used to stay, they had a boy exactly the same age as mine. I slept with him for 2 nights. And he told me, he says, you know so-and-so girl? He says, I said, no, I don't, which I didn't. Rhoda, he says, I don't know. He said, don't you know an auntie of yours? I said, no. What's the matter with her? He says, every time I say a fellow, apparently this fellow was trying to take her out, see, or vice versa, and that I have a cousin, or he's a cousin of mine. Every time you says, how many cousins has she got? I said, I don't know nothing about what she's. So finally it figured out that says, I'll take it down there, and my auntie there, she started kissing me and this and that, and he told the fellow to leave me there for a few days. That they'll look after me for a couple of days. See?
How did you feel when you came to Canada and you first saw it? What expectations did you have of what Canada may be like before you came here?
No, with me, I was well knowledge. I was well knowledge because I left my village when I was 12 years old. So I lived in Florida all by myself, you know, in a boarding house when I used to go to school out at Sotilia, another 500 miles, you know, at the border of Albania. I used to go to the college again. I didn't. So I went to Salonika. So I was well traveled, you know, around. When I come out, and didn't make no difference to me. They're all people.
And you said you knew English, so
yes, I knew
language
English.
no
Yeah, no problems.
Can you tell me the amount of money that you carried with you when you came to Canada?
Now that's a question. I didn't know. All I know is the first day, these people used to live up at Stony Creek, outside of Hamilton. And I went out for a walk, and I walked over to Stony Creek, and I landed up in Dundas. They had a gravel pit there. They used to crush stones, you know, a great big factory. And I went up, I asked him for a job. Said no job. So I went to a restaurant, to a Chinese restaurant. So I don't know what I had, but I pulled out a silver. It was 7 or 8 pieces of silver. I said, here, I said, take it. I didn't know the difference of a quarter or 5 cents or 10 cents. I said, you can take it. And he took whatever it was, 25 or 35 cents. And then I walked back again, back to Stony Creek.
Yes. So you can't remember the amount of money that you had to, according to the Canadian immigration officials, had to bring with you?
No, there was no strictly things, Miss.
Did you enter as a student?
No, I entered as a laborer.
As a laborer.
As a student, I didn't have the facility. I didn't have the facilities to keep on the financial support. See? So I had to change my name as a laborer.
And you came under a different name?
On a different name, and then in here, the other agent, those agents, they'll cooperate together. They'll send an affidavit saying that my brother or my son is coming or my uncle is coming from there as a laborer. Canada wanted the laborer then. So that's why I come in as a laborer, because if I had come out under the student, they want to know what university was I to go, and I didn't have the funds for that.
Okay. What name did you come under?
Oh, now you got me. Michael Peter.
Michael Peter.
Michael Petru.
Petru. Was supposedly a relative called Mr. Petro here waiting for you?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Can you remember how much you paid, or your father paid the agent?
That I don't know. I couldn't tell you because we were well off anyway. See, I mean.
And the agent was stationed in Thessaloniki.
Thessaloniki, Florida, or Castoria, and all the major cities, you know.
There was quite a few agents.
Oh, yes, just like today, you know.
How was Canada advertised in Greece? How did you know about?
There is no advertisement of any kind. Canada wasn't even known then. We've heard of it about Americans, and that's about all, but no Canada.
Not Canada.
But me being a little brighter, I opened up my geography book to see about Canada. See, and it was only 2 lines.
You were saying, yes.
Yeah, see.
So you said you came through Halifax, and then you took a train, and then came to Toronto, then to Hamilton.
Then to Hamilton, yeah.
And then you went to Burlington when you found that you had an aunt there.
Yeah, and they had a restaurant there.
And how long did you stay in Burlington?
Oh, I stayed there for about 3 or 4 weeks, and both the mother and the daughter were talking in Macedonian. I couldn't understand what they were talking about. They were feeling sorry for me. What to do and what not to do. What are these fellows going to do? What are we going to do for him? And I was pacing the floor up and down, walking up and down, and one time the girl didn't show up, the waitress. So I jumped in. I went and I said, yes, sir. So the fellow says, T-bone steak, ham and eggs, and pork and beans. I'd go to the kitchen, I'd say, T-bone steak, ham and eggs, and pork and beans. Now they gave me hot beef, and I didn't know the difference. And this girl starts screaming, Mama, 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 Nick knows English, Nick knows English. I said, keep quiet. I said, don't. And then
You were initiated into the restaurant.
Into the
business
restaurant,
then.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then every time I'd see the night constable at night, he was after me. And I'll disappear. But
Why was he after you?
because I come in under a different name.
Uh-huh.
I thought that he was looking for me. And then this cousin asked me, why you disappear every time, Mr. Dunham, that's the night constable.
Mhm.
I said, look, I'll tell you the story. I said, I come in under a different name. I said, but don't say nothing. So she started laughing and screaming and everything. And I said, keep quiet. And the more I was putting the pressure on her, the louder she was screaming. Her mother come in and separate us.
Mhm.
So finally she says, you know that fellow, in the meantime, in the afternoon, I used to go out with another fellow. Lee Smith, he was the chief of the police, but he was dressed in civis.
Mhm.
He used to take me out for a ride for an hour or two. He used to catch speeders
Mhm.
violating the town limits with a time clock.
Oh.
And so she says to me, she says, you're scared from him? I say, yes. He's a policeman. I said, don't say nothing. She says, what about the fellow that takes you out for a ride? He says. I said, well, who is he? He's the chief. So I quit going with him.
And when did you get your naturalization papers?
Oh, I got him in 36.
36.
36 I got him.
You were, just to backtrack a little bit, you were saying that what was the name of the ship that you came over?
Cunard.
Cunard. And
Cunard.
it was an English ship?
It was an English ship.
English ship. Okay.
Cunard Lions.
So how many years did you stay in Burlington?
In Burlington I stayed 5 years.
5 years. And when did you meet your wife?
In 1940.
1940.
1939, I was working in Timmins, and who should be the head chef and the second cook was from their village.
Uh-huh.
So
I see.
me and the chef were living in the same room in the back of the restaurant.
Mhm.
And at Easter time, they were sending cards like these fellows to one another. I'm the manager, you know, the head waiter in Timmins, yeah.
Mhm.
So finally, Nick says, why don't you write something? I said, who am I going to write? I said, I haven't got nobody here, which I didn't have anybody.
Mhm.
So finally, they talked to each other. She says, how about Teresa?
Mhm.
She said, how would you like to send a nice girl? He says, that's my cousin. This is my cousin. I said, who is she as Teresa? Sure. I said, give me a card. I said.
And that's how you first met your
And that's how I met her.
Mhm.
And to my sorrow, to my happiness, she answered it, but 2 weeks later, see, and we started writing
And where was she living?
in Toronto here.
Oh, in Toronto.
Toronto.
In Toronto then.
So this was in 1938 or 39, 1939, that the place was sold out, and I come back in Burlington. We still have, we lost our track about the correspondence we
Oh,
have.
I see.
But then every time I'll write, I'll be very careful. I'll syntax my thing, you know,
Mhm.
just to show her I'm better than her. So, but she was
In
fluent
English.
in English. Yeah.
And when
So
did
finally,
your...
when I moved to Burlington, I lost track of her, see. So my cousin Paul, you know, the one that married my cousin, she said, why don't you go? Well, I said, let's go and see her. She said, I said, oh, we're going to see her. I said, I don't know. So we went down to see her.
Mhm.
We met this other fellow, the chef, you know, he was there.
Uh-huh.
And we got him along. And this we were about the three of us to enter the restaurant. Here she was coming from the bank at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It was summertime.
Oh, I see.
And she had 2 rolls of Nikos, tightening it like that. And here, I was, as I told you, I was the 1930, the light heavyweight champion in Canada for 1971. And I
Yes,
see her, she was only about 100 pounds. And I was looking at her like that, you know. And she had these things in like that, and her hand, her fist was all white for hanging on to that silver.
Silver.
To that silver.
And your
Yeah.
wife came to Canada when she was very young.
That's right.
Yeah. And she was, I think, 7 or 8.
No, she was about 5 years old. She, 6, 5 or 6. Yeah.
Okay. And you said the business in Timmins
So,
was sold or did not work out, and then you came back to Burlington and worked in the restaurant.
a restaurant again. Oh,
When
I
did
worked.
you-
I worked at in Hamilton there for about the steel plants here for about
Mhm.
2 or 3 months. Since I was going back and forth from Burlington, you know.
Uh-huh. When did you finally come to Toronto?
To Toronto in 1948. I had a business of my own after I left Otis Fenson, and I was called twice for the army,
Mhm.
but the factory, the management there kept me back because I was a key man. They called up for people with one boy, and then my second boy came in. They called up the second boy. They wanted, but all the time the factory intervened. But he's a key man.
This you're talking about the Otis
The
factory
Otis Ransom, yeah.
in Hamilton, who started making
Beaufort guns, Beaufort.
Buffered guns.
Yeah, under aircraft.
Under aircraft. And what year was this? When you were
That
working
was
in that factory?
1942 and 1943. I was a key man. That's why I didn't go to the army. See.
I see. Oh, you didn't go to the army.
No, I didn't. See. And then
when did you meet your wife and get married, and then finally come to Toronto?
Oh, in 1938, when I come back again, and my cousin come in here, finally I met her, her people, you know, in the restaurant there, and my cousin, this and that. So finally we got engaged. So one of my friends in Burlington, I said, let me have your car. I said, see, and he's the only one, Graham. He was a salary farmer. See. We were about 10 or 15 fellows. Sure, Nick, says, for you, take it here at sports.
Roadster, they used to call it.
Plymouth Roadster. So I take this car, I come over here.
And dazzle her.
I don't know where to take it, so I took her down to Q Beach, you know.
Oh, yes.
It is nice and quiet in there and everything, and all of a sudden the spotlight comes in here. Policeman, what are you doing here? And all that. I said, nothing, sir, nothing, sir. So she got scared, you know. I said, don't worry. I said, we're engaged. What's the matter with you? I said. So incidentally, when I come back in Toronto in 48, I got a job here at the Mercury Restaurant, see?
The Mercury Restaurant?
The Mercury Restaurant for 25 years I've been there.
Really? Who owned the Mercury Restaurant?
Andrews.
Andrews.
Yeah,
A Greek family?
No, it was Macedonia from the Yugoslavia side.
Oh, I see.
So anyway, who should come in one time? The same, now he's a sergeant, the same policeman that I saw him about 2 years ago. He saw him with a flashlight. He's looking at me, and I'm looking at him. I said, haven't I seen you? I said, I'm just thinking. I said, are you related anything to Gogov? He says. I said, yes. I said, I married her, that Gogov, niece, yeah. Were you the one, he says, down at the Q Beach? I said, were you the one fellow that put his flashlight on me? He said, yes.
How were you? When you came to Toronto, I'm wondering if we can go into a little bit now what the community was like in Toronto back in 1948. Where did you live, first of all, when you moved to Toronto? What part of the city?
Oh, Danforth Loan. Yeah, we lived there for a while, the beginnings. But in 1948, when we came in, we bought the house here with the old man.
And this is on
This is the house.
near Pape and Danforth.
Yeah, this, Logan and or Browning and Logan.
Back in 1948, were there a lot of Greeks in Toronto?
Yes, yes, mostly. Well, I happen to be, because I'm a restaurant chef myself, and when I went to Mercury to apply for the job, I said I'll take the kitchen. I'd rather work in the kitchen. I said maybe I could make $1 more. I said, but in the meantime, I'm expert on. I'm a soda jerk. Make all kind of parfaits, all kind of dishes, and this and that, and pie maker and everything. Then you have to know all those things, you know. So I was well trained to the job, you know. When I went to the kitchen, then I took over. We were 55 staff.
Really, it's a huge restaurant.
Huge restaurant.
Yeah. And you worked there for 25 years?
Yes, till 1972, 73.
Until it changed hands.
When you were living here, did you interact with Greeks at all?
No, none. The only place I used to know is the restaurant.
The Casaloma restaurant, Nick?
No.
Remember Chris?
Oh,
you worked there for a while. Oh, they were
no,
beautiful.
prior to me going to Hamilton, I worked in there. Well, after, as soon as we
worked
got
at
married.
First, and then
For
you
about
went to
6 or
Chris's
7
place.
months. Yeah, the Chris.
Yeah.
And then we went to Otis Ransom in Hamilton. Remember?
Yeah.
And then after that, we had our own place there in 48. Now we're talking about in Toronto back again.
Did you have any contact with Greek people or Macedonian
The only
people
Greek
often
people
here?
that I used to know, you see, this place was classed as Macedonian place, this Mercury.
Yes.
But to me, that was there was no such a thing as Macedonian. I always believed into that. So I favored anybody.
Mhm.
And the Greeks, and we had the Greeks, and then I trained, and a lot of people would say, the Macedonians say, why do you take him? He's a Greek and everything. And I said, what did you say?
Mhm.
He's a Greek? I said, I said, go and see the cashier.
Mhm.
I'll make other thing. I didn't want no racism, no nothing.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times I'll fire the Greek fellows. He says, oh, he said, you are afraid of the Macedonians. I said, get your money and get out. I said,
So you were the manager of the
The
restaurant,
manager, yeah.
and you hired both Macedonian
Both.
and Greeks.
Greeks and all kinds of nationality.
Outside of the restaurant in the community, did you interact at all with the Greeks or the Macedonians as
No.
in church?
No, there wasn't any. Only I heard a lot of this church on Bond Street, you know,
Uh-huh.
because I used to work at nights.
Mhm.
And mind you, I had 4 kids, and I had a wife,
Mhm.
and night work, and I didn't give me much chance. In fact, I wasn't free at all on Sunday. Only one day I had.
Mhm.
Used to get it was on a Tuesday.
Mhm. Yeah.
See, but I used to know, I heard of the Greek community. You know, there's a church there on Bond Street, but that's what all then it was.
Did you go to any Macedonian churches?
No,
Or did your
no,
wife go to
no,
any
no,
Macedonian
no,
churches?
Very seldom.
Very
Very
seldom.
seldom. What about picnics during the summer or any type of
As I
dance?
said-
Never took us anywhere.
As I said, I
Oh,
couldn't. I was
that's
very
cool.
busy. The
Mm.
picnics were held up in summer or Saturday night or Sunday, and I had to work. You know, the people, you know, used to take off. Them days we didn't have no holidays, no nothing. See,
In the back in late 1940s, what was this community like? Like, who would be living up the street or across, a couple of streets down? Was it basically an Anglo-Saxon community?
Here was yes, and this was Anglo-Saxon. Yes,
Were
Anglo-Saxon.
there Irish and
Irish
Scottish as
and
well?
yes, Scots and very few foreigners. In fact, I was the only foreigner that came in this place here.
I see. Uh-huh.
On my left here there was a Canadian fellow. On my right here there was a Canadian fellow. Him and his mother used to live. But how I met these fellows, on my day off I used to go down at Eaton House to have a glass of beer. And I used to see these fellows here on my left, used to be all 6 or 7 of them. So to make myself friendly to them, I said, give them a glass of beer, see. And I'll see this fellow here. This fellow used to go to Todd Morton, see. And not as much with this, but this fellow, I got him with me then after that. But his wife hated me. And so was this fellow hated me
He was
until
only her way, honey.
he married to a Ukrainian girl, and then we got really Anglo-Saxon. I know that, see, but
Ha- What do you think the attitude of the Anglo-Saxons were towards Greeks or Macedonians?
they were 1 step or 2 steps higher than us. We were classed as foreigners
Uh-huh. How did they show this in your
by snubbing you.
snubbing you?
Yes.
Did you see this in the restaurant as well?
Oh, restaurants, very much, especially if they had this Legion button on it, you know, and if you say anything, you say, right, the first thing they'll say, I fought for you, you so-and-so. And that was the time then I showed I said, you didn't fight for me, I said. You fought for Canada, and I'm for Canada too, and when it comes to physical, then I respond to it, see, but I'll take very much abuses until I get loose, and once I get loose, then that's it. I have to be the winner. I'll tell you, in Willowville, we moved over. In 52, was it?
I don't know, maybe.
There was a family again, Anglo-Saxon, see? And my kids used to run from the backyard to go to from the front yard to go to school. Instead of going through they used to run sideways and step on their lawn a little bit. So he says he would chase him out and this and that. But that fellow incidentally, he just moved about 3 weeks prior to me. And he was lawning, and the lawn that he put on it was all yellow. And I had a few beers. I said, hi, neighbor. I says, hi. He says, what are you doing? He says, well, I'm watering the lawn. He says, I said, that thing is dead. I said, I never even thought that. He says, what do you mean it's dead? I said, that's exactly what I'm saying. I said, it's dead. I said, that thing had no water on it. But he just put it in, see? So he doesn't like me now. So a year later, the street was like that, lopsided, see? And the water coming from the house, just dripping from the rain, would go down to his thing. He's snubbing. And all of a sudden, one day, I get a register letter from him with about 15 lawyers QC council, this and that. I said, what the hell? So I read all that. He gives me 10 days notice or else you. I said, what's he talking about?
10 days notice for...
To fix up the water, this and that.
I see, yeah.
They not let my water go out in the garden, not in his place.
Mhm.
Now I said, I got mad because why didn't he say to me? I said, Nick, let's do something about this water here. It's running to mine. Well, his water running to his other house.
Yeah.
That
Your
matter.
name was Langford,
all
Nick.
on a hill.
I still remember those.
So I didn't know anything about it. Finally, I got a pipe from the garbage fellows. At that time, the Bank of Nova Scotia was building, if you remember it.
Mhm.
I said to the fellows, I said, I need a pipe. But I said, what's the length? I said, the size of this restaurant. Well, they bought me, I don't know, about 15, 20 feet pipe, and I put it on top of the car, and I go over there, I stick it on there, and here the water is running out of there. Hey, I said, how do you like that now? I said,
When you first came to Canada, do you remember, were there many women immigrating at that particular time? Greek women?
no.
Were they
no.
basically men and single?
All man, no, married too.
Married too?
Some of those people that immigrated prior to mine immigration, they had kids in there, families, they've grown up, they haven't seen him for 30 years.
Mhm. Did some subsequent to that also bring their wives over after 5 or 6 years of being in Canada?
No, they couldn't bring any, there was no money.
But later on, when perhaps
Later on they
opened up a
do, but
business?
then some of them got married here with other lovers, and that's this and that,
I
and
see.
so forth, see?
Yeah,
See?
When the Greek immigrants started coming with their wives, let's say in the 40s and the
No, the
50s,
Greek, they started coming in after the 50s, 55 and 60s. See?
after then,
Mhm.
did the women start working?
Yes,
Uh,
right away.
What types of jobs did they enter?
Cleaning,
Cleaning.
restaurants,
Uh-huh.
and then in the factories, sweeping, any kind of work.
Mhm, mhm. But the few women that were here before didn't
No,
tend to
no,
work outside
no,
the
none of
home.
them, none of them.
Yeah. Okay. I wanted to ask you a little bit about the Greeks and the southern Greeks and the Macedonian Greeks.
And the northern Greeks.
And you were saying that it was very difficult to differentiate back in the 30s and 40s between these
That's
two
right,
groups.
that's right.
But there were some Macedonians that were sort of pro-Slavic and some
That's right.
Macedonians that were pro-Greek.
That's right.
But they didn't tend to interact at that
No,
particular
not at that time. This thing didn't start till after the Second World War,
After
see.
the Second World War. Okay. Was there any desire among the Greek Macedonians in the 40s and 50s to send their children to any Slavic schools?
Well,
or
they didn't
Greek
have
schools?
much of a family, miss, them days. As I said, they're all
Mhm.
singles, you know.
They're all single, so
They're all
they didn't
sing-
have children.
No, they didn't have no children, see.
Okay. Can you recall any of the institutions within the Greek community? I know you didn't have that much contact with it, but institutions such as a HEPA, do you recall that the
Oh, yes,
existence
yes,
of a
yes,
HEPA?
yes, I do.
Can you tell me what you know about a HEPA? Or
No,
what
I've heard
it's-
of a HAPA being an organization similar to the Masonic organization, and I am a member of the Masonic Association.
Uh-huh. When did you become a member of the Masonic?
In 1945.
1945.
Yeah.
And there's some similarities between Masonic organizations.
Well,
and HEPA.
that's what I understand, yeah.
Did you have any contact with, for example, the Philoptocho Association?
No, I never heard of that. Never heard of that.
Okay. In 1930, when you came to Canada, we were right in the middle of the Depression.
That's
what was
right.
it like for you to live in the Depression?
Nothing. You know, as I said, I was working in this restaurant there. I was putting 12 hours and 14 hours, and I used to get 2 or 3 hours in the afternoon, once or twice a week to go to a show. Instead of that, I was going to Hamilton and I was training.
Uh-huh.
I was training. I had to, in fact, after 6 or 7 months, my trainer tells me, she says, well, you see, every year we used to have wrestling matches like zones.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Hamilton was divided in Eastern Zone and Western Zone, and then Niagara Peninsula, Windsor Peninsula, Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
So she says, you're going to be in your category. I said, what do you mean? I'm so good, I said.
Mm-hmm.
Because I took wrestling just to beat up these fellas. It's true. He used to come in, you know, this fellow every Saturday night, 250 pounds, you know, he said, hot beef, he says, you greasy spoon. And so finally, One day the trainer told me, he says, "You're very good, you're very strong, Nick." He says,
Mm-hmm.
I say, "Am I strong?" But my strength was, I says to Rosa, to my cousin, I said, "Tonight when he comes, I'll serve him." She started crying in the kitchen. I said, "You stay in the kitchen." And he comes.
Mm-hmm.
Hard bit, I said, "Look, George, I'll give you the hard bit." He used to put 2 bottles of ketchup on top, and then he'd take it over with his hands, lock it, and wipe up with the counter.
Uh-huh.
So finally, he grabbed it and got a hold of the ketchup. I said, "I told you," I said, and instead of me untying my apron, I just took it apart and I went and I shut my eyes and I just picked him right up. See?
Mm-hmm.
And I carried him out and I gave him the airplane spins, you know, and that's where he was drunk. And there was about 15 or 20 fellas behind him, you know, kids,
Mm-hmm.
because you would stop traffic and everything. This fellow, nobody would bother. Only one constable and the chief. I said, "Who else wants to fight this thing?"
So it seems that the depression didn't really
No.
affect you.
No, because I was single, as I said, I always had $1 and I never.
Mm-hmm. Your wife was saying a little bit earlier when we were talking that the depression for her in Toronto was really something.
It was,
And
because
she had to quit school and
that's
work.
right, to go to work. Well, they had a place of restaurant there with about 4 or 5 of their own associates, the
Mhm.
relatives, you know, and he was getting $28 a week.
Mhm.
I mean, a month.
A month?
And then they cheated me out of 9 months' salary.
Really?
See?
That is now you're going back to your experience.
Well,
in
no,
that time.
that's happened with his family.
Oh, with your wife's family?
Yeah,
I
see.
During the depression.
Yeah, but they were
People working
closely
for
together, the
companies.
three of them together. And that fellow would quit at 4 or 5 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, he must be home, and the old lady would wait,
Mhm.
open the door, you know. And then you go there at 3:30. The old man
Mhm.
pick up the daughter from the school
Mhm.
to bring her home, you know, and
Mhm.
vice versa. You know.
It's when we were talking earlier with yourself and your wife, you seem to be pro-Greek Macedonian, and your
I
wife
am a
seems
Greek.
to be Macedonian.
Yeah, that's right, yeah,
Macedonian.
yeah.
And I'm wondering, I'm curious about how your children